Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is continuing this bullish breakout above key resistance, but in the immediate short term, we've just now technically confirmed a new warning signal we need to pay attention to. So in just a moment, I'll be talking about why I've just taken some more profits out of my Bitcoin long position. So I'll be revealing my exact trading strategy in just a moment, alongside Ethereum, which has also just now confirmed at least a short-term warning signal, while the price of XRP is starting to reject from this key line of resistance. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and over the last 1 day, not much has changed on this chart. The super trend indicator is still currently sitting in the green after that recent flip, that recent crossover. But if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, right now we're actually getting close to at least temporarily invalidating this bearish divergence, with potentially a new higher high getting close to confirming in the price of Bitcoin in the weekly candle closes. Because, for example, if we confirm a weekly candle close here above these previous weekly candle closes, confirming a new higher high in the candle closes above approximately 105,000, give or take, in that situation, we would have to reconfirm a new bearish divergence with a new higher high in the price and, of course, a new lower high in the RSI. So while the RSI is still forming lower highs, there's still the possibility of another bearish divergence ultimately forming at some point later on. And so in order to completely invalidate this bearish divergence altogether, ideally we need to also see a breakout in the RSI alongside breaking out here in the price action. So for example, if we form a higher high in the RSI alongside higher highs in the price, then there's no divergence at all. So that's what we need to see in order to really be much more confident that we're flipping much more bullish, at least based on this chart right here, once again showing a bearish divergence. But if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, obviously this chart has already been pointing in the bullish direction for basically around a month now, as I've been saying pretty much every day here on the channel over the last 1 month. Because clearly in the weekly Bitcoin MACD, we've been seeing declining bearish momentum moving towards a bullish crossover for roughly around a month now, as I've been saying once again here on the channel. And so this means that we're clearly in the recovery out of this correction here for the last 1 month, give or take, once again, just like these previous examples that I've been talking about. And not only are we seeing declining bearish momentum moving towards a bullish crossover, we are also now flashing a bullish crossover signal in the weekly Bitcoin MACD, and this could possibly confirm in a matter of hours from now at this next weekly candle close, which confirms at exactly midnight UTC, so just over the next 1 day. And if this does not confirm at this weekly candle close right here, it's extremely likely it will confirm at the next weekly candle close. So either way, we're getting extremely close to confirming a bullish crossover in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. And once we see this bullish crossover actually confirm in the weekly Bitcoin MACD, of course, this signals much more bullish momentum still to come for the price of Bitcoin, like what we saw in these last 2 examples. Once we finally saw the bullish crossover, we saw much more bullish price action over the next few weeks or months. And so basically, it's extremely likely that the price of Bitcoin will head into new all-time highs relatively soon. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, of course, that was a massive increase in probability, a very likely scenario going to happen once we saw this breakout above 98K. Obviously, I've been saying over and over again here on the channel since before this breakout right here, I've been saying once we break out above 96 to 98,000, expect a continued bullish move towards all-time highs. And obviously that's pretty much exactly what is now playing out as expected. And if we were to see some sort of pullback for whatever reason, I'm not saying that will happen, but if we see a pullback, I'd now expect a lot of support in this previous resistance flipping into new support in between 96K to 98K. And the next resistance to watch out for, based on these 3-day candle closes right here, we do have some resistance at around 106,000 and also a little bit more resistance at around 108 to 109,000 based on the all-time high. But of course, above that, we're simply looking at new all-time highs. But honestly, I don't necessarily expect significant resistance around there, potentially just a bit of short-term resistance, a bit of short-term struggle around these highs. But if we're taking a look at this daily time frame, of course, we've already broken out above pretty much all of these previous significant Fibonacci levels of resistance. And so obviously every time we break out above one of these key levels of resistance, this increases the probability that we're going to simply head to new all-time highs. So that is what is now playing out. We've already broken out above this 78.6% Fibonacci level at around 102,000, which means we should now expect support at that level. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, technically speaking, we've not confirmed an invalidation signal to invalidate the bullish divergence on the daily time frame, which means technically the bullish divergence is still active. But of course, right now we are indeed in overbought territories in the daily Bitcoin RSI, meaning sometime soon it is quite likely we could see perhaps a short-term cool-off. So not necessarily a crash or a bearish reversal, just a bit of a slowdown in the short term in order to help to reset the RSI, which can give us more room towards the upside. Kind of like what we saw just here. We got close to overbought and actually just hit overbought roughly a week ago, give or take. Saw a slight little pullback, a bit of choppy sideways price action, helping to reset the RSI, giving us more room towards the upside. So that could be a likely scenario just in the short term, maybe for the next couple of days or so. But if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 2-hour Bitcoin price chart, we've just now officially confirmed this new bearish divergence with higher highs confirmed in the price of Bitcoin in the candle closes and lower highs confirmed in the 2-hour Bitcoin RSI. So this means just in the immediate short term, talking about a matter of hours or days, that sort of time frame, expect a bit of a cool off as a likely scenario. So that means either some choppy sideways price action just like this, or potentially a slight pullback as the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence. But remember, this is only on the 2-hour time frame, so we're only looking at the very short-term moves, which are obviously very small moves in the price. So of course, these are not like $10,000 moves. These are only like $1,000 to $2,000 moves in the price of Bitcoin. And so just keep that in mind. That is technically confirmed on this 2-hour time frame, at least for now. And of course, if we see a breakout, that would invalidate this bearish divergence, especially if we break out in the RSI. That is the invalidation signal to watch out for in order to start flipping more bullish again. But for now, it is technically confirmed alongside this overbought signal on the daily time frame. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, of course, over the last one day, we took out that liquidity, which I talked about in my last video. I said we had a lot of liquidity building just in the short term, just under 105,000 at around 104.5k to 104.8k. And so obviously I said in my last video here on the channel, right around here, I said it's extremely likely that very, very soon the price of Bitcoin will go towards the upside, towards that level to take out that liquidity. And obviously that is exactly what has played out as expected. So in case you're new to all of this, the price of Bitcoin usually, not always, but usually tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity. And what is quite interesting right now is that we actually have a bit more liquidity building to the upside and also to the downside in the price of Bitcoin. So these are the levels to watch out for. First of all, this area of liquidity towards the upside is sitting in between around 105,000 to almost 106,000. In that area, we do have some liquidity starting to build, but actually most of the liquidity, at least in the shorter term, is sitting at just above 102,000. And so at least based on this chart right here, this is telling us that it is quite likely we may end up seeing just a slight little pullback to hit that 102k level to take out that liquidity, and then we may end up seeing a little bounce from that area to ultimately take out this bullish liquidity above the price. That is a likely scenario just in the short term, which also coincides with this bearish divergence and this overbought signal. And so with all of that being said, what is my exact Bitcoin trading strategy? And well, right now I'm still long on the price of Bitcoin, as you can see on my 2bit account right here, putting my money where my mouth is. I've been long on the price of Bitcoin since around 88,000 approximately, as I've been saying pretty much every day on the channel since back then. But just over the last one day, I have actually taken a little bit more profits out of this long position, just slightly reducing the size of the trade. So you can see compared to my last video, it's a slightly smaller trade right now. And on top of just slightly reducing the size of the trade, taking a small amount of profits out of the position, I have moved my stop loss further into profits, as you can see right here. And of course, that's following my exact trading strategy, which I've been sharing here on the channel. And in case you're new to this channel, basically the strategy is to simply slowly move my stop loss further and further into profits as the trade moves further and further into profits. And then potentially at some key points of resistance, or if we see some of these signals like an overbought signal or possibly a short-term bearish divergence, some of these short-term bearish signals, of course, I will take a small amount of profits out of this long position. But overall, I want to make this clear. Overall, I'm still very much bullish on the price, with especially especially this bullish crossover coming up in the weekly Bitcoin MACD, which is why I'm still long on the price of Bitcoin. I did not close the entire trade, just simply reducing the size of the trade very slightly. And if I'm showing very transparently here on the channel, the actual realized profit and loss from this exact Bitcoin long position, right now, the unrealized profit is close to 9,000 USDT, around 8.8K as of recording this video, and the current realized profit is around 3.7K USDT. So overall, well over 12,000 USDT in profits just from this one long position here, which I've been sharing very transparently here on the channel ever since I entered the trade. And so obviously this is why it is important to subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these trading opportunities, which I share completely for free here on this channel from time to time when I'm taking these trading opportunities. And of course, if you want to get set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity in the price of Bitcoin, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange like what I'm on right now. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on 2bit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example, up to $50,000 in trading rewards. But if you're not one of these larger traders, you can also claim a $30 sign up bonus to 2bit and also a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus onto your account, but only if you use that link. And on top of all of that, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also BTNex as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to BTNex below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can also claim some massive trading bonuses. Like for example, you can claim $35,000 onto your account using that link below this video just by trading crypto. But if you're not one of these larger traders, you can still claim some deposit bonuses. Like for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus, but only if you use that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, the first and second link below this video. And in case you're wondering, BTNex is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, and of course, right now the price of ETH has continued the very significant bounce from this significant area of support, which is still sitting in between 1.4K to 1550. So over the last one day, not a lot has changed on this chart, but of course we have an upcoming weekly candle close confirming in a matter of hours from now at exactly midnight UTC. And so ideally, if we can confirm this candle close above around 2,500, that would be extremely bullish because we'd finally be reclaiming this previous significant level of support right here. And so of course, if we're getting back above a significant level on the price chart, that is bullish price structure. But if we're taking a look at the daily Ethereum price chart, for now, obviously the momentum is still very much bullish. As always, expect somewhat similar price action for Ethereum, not the exact same price action, but similar price action for Ethereum as what Bitcoin is doing. So if Bitcoin, for example, is playing out a bullish move, expect bullish price action for Ethereum and most altcoins as the most likely scenario. But right now we're getting closer towards the golden pocket area of resistance on the daily Ethereum price chart, sitting in between around 2.7K to 2.8K. So that is the next significant area of resistance to watch out for. And in the meantime, we do have a small amount of resistance right here at just above 2,500, really just below 2.6K, acting as some short-term resistance as well. And once we can finally see a breakout above 2.8K, expect a continued move up towards around 3.2K. And as for short-term support, I'd now expect support at close to 2.4K and just under 2.4K, and also significant support at around 2.1K if we were to get down there. Obviously, I'm not saying the price will go down there. I'm just saying if we saw a pullback to those levels, expect support around there. But with that being said, zooming into the shorter term on the 2-hour Ethereum price chart, technically speaking, we now have an active bearish divergence, at least in the short term for the price of ETH, because we now clearly have higher highs confirmed in the price in the candle closes and clearly lower highs confirmed in the 2-hour Ethereum RSI, which is technically a bearish divergence, telling us we're most likely going to see either just a short-term pullback like this, or maybe a bit of choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes, the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence. But remember, considering the fact this is only on the 2-hour time frame, we're not really talking about massive movements in the price, only relatively small moves. And of course, this will only likely play out over a period of hours or days, usually a couple of days, give or take, if we're talking about the 2-hour time frame. And as always, if we break out into new higher highs in the price, but especially in the RSI, those will be the invalidation signals to watch out for in order to invalidate the bearish divergence. But with that being said, taking a look at Solana on the 3-day time frame, technically Solana is still actively playing out this significant bullish divergence on the 3-day chart, so not much has changed over the last 1 day on this chart. And if we're taking a look at the daily Solana price chart, obviously right now we have already broken out above this 50% retracement level, which was sitting at around $167 approximately. So I'll now expect support at that level. So if we continue a little bit more of a pullback here, expect support at roughly 167 to 168. And in the short term, we have clearly just found some resistance at around 179. And of course, I've been talking about that $179 level as resistance based on a previous resistance in the price. And as for the next significant level of resistance to watch out for above 179, we have the golden pocket area of resistance in between around 191 to 200. And above that, we have this 78.6% Fibonacci level sitting at around $231. But overall, once again, just expect somewhat similar price action for Solana as what Bitcoin and Ethereum are playing out. So clearly, of course, the price structure, the momentum is obviously bullish for Solana, especially while we're playing out the bullish divergence on the 3-day time frame. But from time to time, we can see little cool-offs here and there. But overall, once again, we are simply bullish right now. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the 3-day time frame, of course, over the last 1 day, we have just now started to break out above this previous high in the 3-day XRP RSI. So this is now one invalidation signal starting to confirm for this previous bearish divergence, telling us that this previous bearish divergence is potentially now over. And so this means we could soon start to see a little bit more bullish price action finally for the price of XRP, especially if Bitcoin and Ethereum and the rest of the altcoins are experiencing bullish price action. Obviously, that can really help XRP and most other altcoins. But for now, on the daily time frame, we are indeed running into this descending line of resistance for the descending parallel channel, which is sitting at roughly around $2.45 to $2.46, give or take. So continue to expect some short-term resistance around there. Obviously, we got extremely close to possibly seeing a breakout, but for now, we've not yet confirmed a breakout above this resistance, which means continue to expect resistance at that level. And in the meantime, while we're playing out this short-term rejection, expect some support at just above $2.30, so around $2.31 to $2.33, give or take. Expect some support around there, and below that, expect more support at around $2.17 and significant support in between $2.05 to $2.10 if we were to make it back down there. And of course, if we can finally see a confirmed breakout above this massive descending line of resistance right here with a candle close confirming above that level, then in that situation, that would be extremely bullish for XRP, not just pointing towards a little bit of a bullish relief, but actually pointing towards a continued bullish trend reversal, completely reversing this previous bearish trend into a new bullish trend. But obviously, for now, we've not yet seen that confirmed, so still expect some resistance at that level. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, just over the last few hours, over the last 1 day, give or take, we've now pretty much perfectly seen a short-term rejection from around 1750 to 1760, which is exactly what I've been talking about here on the channel since before all of this happened. Because obviously, for a while now on the channel, I've been talking about, first of all, this golden pocket area of resistance based on the previous golden pocket area of support sitting in between around 1490 to 1550. And previously, that was very significant resistance right here. And I've been saying ever since we break out above around 1550, expect a quick move up towards around 1750 and then expect resistance around 1750 to 1760. Obviously, I've been saying that for weeks, if not months now on the channel, and so far it's been perfectly playing out. But overall, the price structure has clearly reversed. The moment we broke out above 1550 with candle closes confirming above that level, that was a significant change in price structure because we now have higher highs confirmed in the price, breaking out above very important resistance and also confirming a higher low in the price, which is all bullish price structure, pointing towards a new bullish trend, reversing out of this bearish trend. And so just keep that in mind. The larger price structure on the daily time frame is pointing in the bullish direction, but in the immediate short term, we're just struggling around this resistance at around 1750 to 1760. But once we can finally see a breakout above that resistance, in that situation, once we break out above 1750 to 1760, expect a continued bullish move up towards close close to $20. And then at almost exactly $20, very close to $20, expect resistance around there. And as for support, if we were to see a continued pullback here, expect a lot of support as we approach around $15.50 to $15. Expect once again a lot of support there based on previous resistance flipping into new support if we actually make it there. And so those are my expectations moving forward for Chainlink and all of these other crypto assets. And of course, those are the important support and resistance levels to watch out for and potential price targets. And that is my exact Bitcoin trading strategy, showing very transparently here on the channel. And as always, if you want to take these trades for yourself, once again, check out those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links to those exchanges. And if you want to actually know how you can take these trades to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, like what I'm doing right now, then make sure to check out these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.